How do there, guys, and welcome back to Edgar TV, where today we've got some more darting fines. The other day we put out the darts fines that came from 2021. The fines have now been released for 2022 and 2023. Now, I'm one of these people that actually really enjoys reading these. I don't know why. There's just something really entertaining about reading them, although the wording's changed a little bit over the years. One thing as well that's changed over the years, and something I like to see, is something we've seen here with Dirk Telnikes and John Michael. Failure to mark at PDC Q School in the European version. £100 fine. Now, in the past, this has sort of been something that when before markers, it was like the first round fine, so it'd been like £500. Where nowadays, it seems to be that the DRA are sort of suiting it more to the situation. A player at Q School is not going to have the same amount of money or experience as a 10-year professional player who's won a major title. And the punishment needs to be sort of respective to the person's position. I think that's something that the DRA are starting to imply here, which we can sort of see across the board, which I think is something that is really good. Other things we can see in here, Rob Cross, failure to complete his match. Now, this one is really interesting for me. When we look at this situation, Rob Cross failure to complete match. This incident happened on the 15th of the 3rd, so the 15th of March 2023. If we have a look at the PDC diary, there was no PDC darts on the 15th of March 2023, according to the calendar. There was Pro Tours beforehand. There was Premier League on the Thursday. This means that it would have been a Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon. Be interesting to know exactly what that one was. As well, when we have a look here, Rab Bain, that is Rob Cross's manager, betting on darts. It seems to be something that he's been doing for a period of time. You'll see here the date of the offence dates right the way back to the 25th of the 9th, 2020, all the way through to 2023. As I said before, there is such a massive system in place for integrity on sport. If you are involved in that sport, you are not able to bet. Now, a couple of questions that came up in regards to a couple of things that came up last time. First of all, yes, we are allowed to bet on other sports. You are not allowed to bet on the sport that you're involved in. When I used to coach football at academy level, I wasn't allowed to bet on football. It's the same as, I think it's down to like step 7 even in football. So even if you're nowhere near the top leagues, if you're taking part in things such as like the UCL, the United Counties League, things like that, you're not allowed to bet on the football then either. So if you're involved in that sport, you're no longer allowed to bet on those. The other thing is, regarding these fines, they are just cash fines. So these are things that will not come off the ranking, although that could be something that comes forward as well, where we've seen suspensions, we've seen suspended suspensions, we've seen fines. I think this could be something that we could look at as well, where we say, well, actually, it's £1,000 cash and £500 off your ranking. I think that could be a good deterrent as well to some of these sort of consistent behaviours. So that's 2023. Let's have a look at 2022, and a couple of really good ones in here. The first one, Scott Williams at the Grand Slam of Darts. He also swore in an interview at the back in the World Championship. That one doesn't appear on here. It is this one where, behind Luke Humphries, he gave him the fingers. These two get on great. There's no malice in this. This was just sort of a little jokey thing, a very almost half a second flash from Scott Williams, but that's all it takes. Cameras picked it up, and that's something you've got to be very, very careful of, where those cameras are. And it happens to everybody, not even just like the inexperienced like Scott Williams. Experienced people like our current match play champion didn't know where the cameras were in possibly one of my favourite incidences, when he's walking off the stage and he gives it the old sign, but then he notices the camera. And then he, like, as if he's trying to swat away a fly. We can watch it again. I could watch this all day. It's Nathan's cheeky face. Watch. Look, he's like, oh. He's like a naughty boy who's just been caught. Luckily for these two, though, it wasn't a massive fine. £250 for the inappropriate gesture. Luke Humphries, in the same event, or the same hearing, should I say, was caught for swearing on TV, as was Fallon Sherrick. This will be where the camera's cut to them, they've had a bad shot, and they've just gone, for sake, or something along those sort of lines. It won't be something like a gesture, something expressive. It would just be one of those, which is why a formal warning, I think, in this situation is absolutely the perfect way of going with that one. A couple of people here for forfeiting matches, Michael Barnard and Wayne France. That just means that there was probably losing or not playing well and just, you can have it, and walked off, which there is a rule that you have to play to within the best of your ability, something that has caused controversy over the previous years. But here's another interesting one. Nick Fulwell. Now, aggressive behaviour and minor assault, but in a non-PDC event. Now, remember what I said not too long ago. I says when you sign that PDC contract, you're not just bound by in the arena, you're bound at the exhibitions, social media commitments. You're literally on it all the time. And rightly so, you're a professional player. So there is an incident where somebody has had repercussions for a non-PDC event. Needs to be clean, lads. We need a clean sport. Remember what I was saying about fines being retrospective and more suitable to the player? Let's have a look at Mensa Sulu. It's failed to mark. We've just seen a couple of failed to mark examples where we've had £100 fine. Mensa Sulovic fined £200, and rightly so. He's won a major title. He's been on the Pro Tour now for 10, 11 years. He's been around long enough. He knows the way it goes. He probably just forgot in this situation. It had been one of those events where it was not marked by markers, and it's easy to do. Like I say in the last video, I very nearly did it myself because we're so used to having the markers now that during the COVID times it was a little bit forgetful at times, or you even forgot to do the first game. So £200, right, double the fine of the more inexperienced players, so absolutely on board with that one. Another betting on darts, Courtney Hine. Now, Courtney is a PDC Ladies Tour player. Remember what I said, if you go to Q School, you become a PDPA member. You no longer can bet on darts. I think this is going to catch a lot of people out. A lot of people go to Q School for a bit of fun, to see how good they are, to see how close they are to getting that tour card. But when you do that, you become a PDPA member. That is the Professional Dart Players Association. On doing that, you also sign up to the DRA, the Darts Regulation Authority. Soon as you are signed, you are committed to their rule book. You are to a rulebook of a professional standard. It's not the professional player, because that's the PDC contract, which is an additional contract signed by the 128 tour card holders. It gets confusing, I know. That's why you should subscribe to Edgar TV, because I literally just talk you through everything. If you go to Q School, if you play the Ladies Tour, if you play the Development Tour, if you play the Challenge Tour, stop betting. It's going to get tighter because the integrity of the sport, especially with what's gone on in snooker, the integrity of the sport is vital. Another failure to mark goes to Jermaine Watermain of £500. Now, you might be thinking, why is that so harsh on Jermaine? It's probably a second offence. If they keep all these records, first offence is normally a bit more lenient, second offence grows, third offence grows, and so on. The same as if you're withdrawing from tournaments. It sort of staircases and grows the more you do that. Rules such as 3.3 on professional behaviour there for Jordan Brooks is the same as sort of 3.8. They're sort of bringing the sport of darts into distribute. They're sort of blanket rules and rules that you can sort of go to if something doesn't sort of sit right as such. A little bit like when they say the referee's decision is always final, or the referee has final decision on all. It's basically if something's not covered, we can use that clause. Gerwin Price, once again on the list, of course he is. You'll see here he's broke a couple of DRA rules, but also the player's contract. So that's that separate PDC contract that we spoke about. Now, what you've got to do is you've got to be available for media commitments before your match. Anything 2 hours before your match is your time, but anything before that, they can ask you to do interviews or media, photos, anything for the broadcaster. And after as well, you've got, if you lose, I think you've got a 10-minute grace or cooling off period, and then you need to be made available for media commitments if somebody wants to interview the loser. At this point, Gerwin Price lost, didn't take part in the presentation ceremony, walked off. Obviously didn't want that runners-up medal, as a lot of people kind of don't these days. It seems to be the thing. But got a 3-month ban, suspended. So that means if he did something like this again, he would then have the 3-month ban and a £1,000 fine. Again, like I said, the fines need to be relevant to the person. You find Gerwin price 50 quid, it don't really matter so much. Take £1,000 off him, it hurts a little bit more. And for not taking part in that presentation ceremony, £1,000 fine. That is the fines here so far. I do believe there's going to be more in 2023. We're certainly not going to have that one page. What you tend to have is when the pressure ramps up and the situation ramps up, that's when we start to see more naughtiness come through. There's people going to be looking for tour cards, people looking for world championship places, people trying to stay in the top 32, people trying to get into the top 32. Darts is about to get into the busy part of the season where all the pressure's on, the biggest prize monies are given out, and those big major titles are going to be given. So expect there's going to be a lot of shenanigans. I'll be following them all right here on Edgar TV. Hopefully you'll join me too. Hit that subscribe, hit a like on this video. Catch you in some more Edgar TV. Edgar TV.